Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another fantastic episode of Timber Dune, where our oasis in the middle of the dunes has expanded quite beautifully, if I might say so myself. And I'm quite happy with how well this filled up. We've got so much water in here, I don't even know what to do with it all, other than currently it's running off the side of the map on this side and over here as well. So that's not exactly as anticipated, but we'll get we're gonna fix that relatively quickly. It's probably gonna be quick and easy. Come over here, throw some levees and some sort of dam in here or something, just to prevent it from all running off the side of the map, or at least the two levels that have access to that exit point. If we can prevent that, that'll save us a fair amount of water. I don't really have a way to pull or pump this anywhere else into the world right now. I have a plan for that. I can speak. I do have a plan for that. It includes a little bit of an aerial aqueduct type situation. I'm gonna run aqueducts all the way through this area and have it dumping water into the individual pondlets or something along those lines, or we'll connect all of our pondlets and create a little bit of a river that runs through it, so we don't have to have beavers in here actively pumping or dumping water. And in theory, this much water in here should last even for a 30-day drought, so that should keep everything well and truly irrigated for the longest duration possible. And we can even expand this. I have a feeling that this amount of water that's pumping through here would be able to fill up even more of this real estate. So we could probably expand it this way, or we can keep pulling it back this way, or we even expand it a little bit more this way. But that's not the primary problem that we're facing today. The primary problem that we are contending with is the lack of power again. Somehow we've expanded so much that our piddly 12, or call it 11.5k units of beaver power isn't quite meeting the demand for our system. So I was thinking, and you guys have thrown up a couple options for us as far as ways to mitigate this issue that I've created for myself. And I like this one idea. One of you guys posted this brilliant idea of punting all of these bad tide drains into little riverlets that runs all the way under here, all the way up into this area, and then it just spills out this backside right here, and it just adds so much more juice to this entire system, which I like. I really do like that. That also requires running a lot of tunnels, and I can't be running tunnels right now. We need to solve the power problem here and now. So what I was thinking of, a quick and easy way to contend with this power problem, is we come over here, we grab a little bit of a piece of landscaping, throw this levee in right here, here, and here, pause these three, come up top, and we've lined ourselves relatively nice up with this area here. Now, what I was thinking about doing is blasting our way down 3 deep on either side, all the way through here, and that should keep us below anything. And then we just cut our way through. I know how to describe what I'm trying to do. I promise I'm not a complete and total nincompoop. Cut through here, and there's my voice. Editor, cut that out. Cut through here, and we'll have power, our water wheels running this way, and we can even cut the corner over here and have it run this way, and then have it cut off. Probably like right here, so we're not contending with anything above it, which we do have that water system right there that would be a point of contention. So we'll probably cut off right around here-ish and let that spill out the other side. So the height at which this is at should not be an issue. We may go up one higher, maybe, yeah, probably right here. And this will be the line that we use, and that will be a grand. And we might even try to do some trickery with some throttling or fill valves or something along those lines. I'm not entirely sure if that would work in my brain or even allow enough water through to allow for us to have like certain stacks. What we could do is do individual layers, have it fill up to a top point here and continue this way and then cut down and then cut back the other way, which would not be the worst thing imaginable. That would require a lot of time and effort that I'm not quite ready for, and I kind of want to keep it hidden too. So I think that's really where I'm at. I want to have it hidden from the rest of the world so that we're not seeing a metric ton of water wheels floating about the cabin under here. So we'll have a hidden piece of power running through the system. I feel like that would be pretty neat. So that being said, let's go ahead and get in here. Let's click this button back in here and let's start running our way. I don't think we even need to do that. So let's clear that out. We'll come back over here. We've got that access point right there. So let's grab this, run this around over to this side. We're going to go ahead and throw in a lumberjack flag or two. That should cover the majority of that lumber. Apparently it does not, which is stinky, but that's fine. We can come over here. Honestly, I think we're fine on lumber. I don't really care about saving a few pieces here and there. So you know what? Clear this out. Go ahead and rip all of this out. We might even throw in an additional underground ruin over here just for giggles, but that'll be something for us to work on later, and this will meet the intent here. And we just need to keep on running all the way around this. All right, let's go ahead and get the game running as it should be. We have a bad tide approaching, so that'll be an interesting thing for us to deal with. I don't anticipate that being an issue. We do have our bad water shunt over here already pre-installed. Everything under there should be fine. I do want to come over here really quickly, though, and figure this out, because I do not want all of this water running off the edge. So I want to capture as much of that as possible, and I don't believe that I can put in a dam right here. I cannot, because of this bad Johnny prevents us from doing that. So we will have to put in our dam right here. Like that. Is that the right height? I believe it is. And so we'll want to put in a 1x5 just to gain access to all of that. And let's give this a little bit of a priority bump over everything else just so that we can get that saved. I want to save as much of this water as possible in the next 1.5 days, and it's really not going to be doing it for us. Now, what we could additionally do is probably throw something under here just to prevent that backflow. I'm not opposed to that. This is just as a temporary measure. This is not the answer for permanent water saving, if you will, because that's a kind of want to have another outlet for the water, or maybe that will be the primary outlet. I'm not entirely sold on that quite yet, but that is something for me to think about for the future. And it's odd that they're going in about the wrong way. Let's go ahead and get the 3x speed up and running so that things will actually get moving. And how? All right. I think this might be the answer. Let's just go ahead and max prioritize that. Once they get those two built right there, they can go out on top of those dams and levees to get that all taken care of. And of course, we have a bunch of bots that are out of power, which is standard at this point. Again, power is a problem. And we do have a bunch of bots running over here, cleaning up all of this for us. So that is good and grand, and I'm here for it. We've already started throwing in some of these pieces in here, so that'll save even more water for us, which is what we want to see. Yeah, that'll take a little bit of time for them to actually get that taken care of. So we'll let that run there in the background. This will continue to fill up now that we have these levees going in. They've got that in, and they're able to reach out over here and throw this dam in. So now, as soon as they finish slapping it with 4 more logs... 3 more logs. Come on, guys. This is the max priority build right here. It's probably one bot somewhere that's really tired, that's being as slow as beaverly possible right now, that's trying to make his way over there. I don't even know where he would be. Where is he at? There he is. That's him right there. He's the one with the 3 logs on hand, and he just tossed them in. There we go. And now we should have a Build-A-Bot come in shortly there behind him. Hopefully he's not broken, and there he goes. Now we're saving water in here. That should allow for all that water to roll through here. This should be open now. Yeah, oh my goodness. Oops. All right. That's a lot of water. That is a metric ton of water. All right, so let's grab that again, and we'll pull that up to 1.79. Apparently, that's still way too much. What is happening here? Yep, we're going to have to fix that. That's a little tad bit excessive, and we don't need that to be causing that any problems with that there. But it appears as though we have rectified the flooding issues, sort of. All right, we're gonna stop that. That's gonna slosh back and forth a little bit, hopefully not too much to cause any issues, and allow an excessive amount of water out the back end, which it doesn't appear as though that is happening. But this is finally going in, so that is also good. So we'll be able to save even more water. We'll have a little bit of water in this system down here for us to do something with. What it is at this point, I'm not entirely sure. We may even cut this across and have that fill in this side, or even maybe we'll have it run out somewhere else. But this should have swapped over now, and that should have immediately shunted that way, and that's where all that bad water is going. We have a flooded building. Yep, I know. That's anticipated. Sweet. And let's see, building is understaffed. We have a bunch of hauling posts that are understaffed because all of these all of those positions went back in. We do have a bunch of bots running around with nothing to do with their hands right now, so I'm going to go ahead and swap these 2 over, or 7 over, I should say. I can just grab the copy paste function and do that, and then grab this and then do the same thing to there. And now we've got bots running those positions, and that should save us a little bit of our beaverage. Get back into hauling positions, but for now that meets the intent, and I am not concerned about that. I am concerned about the fact that mushrooms aren't really meeting the demand, and I'm not entirely sure why this is the problem that we are dealing with right now. Like, I have 4 of these in here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 mushroom guys. Productivity is high at 86%. They have all the water that they need on hand, yet we're not meeting the demand. All right, so that probably means we start swapping these guys over just so they can monitor it. I think that might be why they're not moving as fast as I would like them to. Maybe? Who knows? I'm not really the smartest on the hydroponic garden systems. I just know throw the stuff in and make it work, and then that typically seems to meet the intent there. But I'm going to pause one of these guys just so we're not seeing that we are missing a few bots, bot positions being filled. And that should be fine and dandy. How are we doing on this over here? That is the real question now. Too far from district. Neat. All right, let's go ahead and grab this, grab that. And let's go ahead and start working our way through this line. So we want to line ourselves up with this, and I don't know, there it goes. Odd that that's not showing up there. It's probably because there is an additional like pocket right there that it's allowed to show itself above there, so that's fine. Just, we need to know that it's on the right side. And I'm trying to think, do we want 4 wide or do we want 2 wide? Or 3 wide? 4 or 3? I think the answer is 4. The answer is 4, and we want one side to be, or the internal line to be deeper than the external side, so we can set the... Okay, sweet. So let's go ahead and get that into the plan here. Let's pull this back down to that level, and I think what we want to do is just grab this, and quite simply, and throw that in right there, and that should be relatively simple. And then we just go and eat that back up. And then I forgot that I didn't pause that one, so I don't have my line to work with. Sweet. Now, what we want to do, and what I would love to do to make this as simple as possible, since we can't build out over things, we do a little something ridiculous, which is going to look a little something... I don't know how it's going to look. We want to start floating above the systems, so we kind of want to do... Do I want to go 2 on either side? It seems a tad bit ridiculous, but it is what it is, and it is what we'll have to do. So let's go ahead and start building that over here. We want to do something like this. We want to do something like this. Right? Yeah. And so this will take a moment. Pardon me while I do ridiculous things for the next 6 to 9 seconds while we build out a huge line of chaos just to plant our bombs off of. So give me a few seconds. I'll be right back. All right. I think that meets the intent there. And so what we would like to do is somehow give them access to crawl up there just so we can put the rest of all of this in. Now, this is the most convoluted and unnecessary way to go about doing this, but it meets the intent and will save us a lot of time and heartache on the back end when we're placing all this dynamite in here. So I believe that should be fine, hopefully, allegedly. That shouldn't cause any major issues. We'll throw in a little Bad Johnny right here just so they can build on this side as well, and we'll just grab this path and we'll eat this across like that, and they should be able to reach everything on that side. So as long as we have that in right there, that will meet the intent. What I'd like to do and what I should have done is built this the other way so that they can actually build on top and start working their way through with all of the tubeway. But this should be fine. We can just eat that in there, eat this there, there. And then we grab this right there, 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 and do the same on this side and run this all the way to there. We grab this and run this all the way to there. And then we want to go up here. So we grab that Bad Johnny, put that in right there, 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 and here. We grab you. Pull that all the way across to there, and we just do the same thing on the other side. That should be simple enough, right? Now this will provide us a nice place to start throwing in all of our dynamite. Instead of crawling down and placing a bunch of dynamite or bunch of tunnels, this should meet the intent, at least in my mind. That meets the intent. We'll see if that is a correct statement or not, but this should work theoretically. And we have a bunch of bots without power, which is not cool. What we can do is throw in a little bit of storage here and there. We'll do, I think we need to do planks and logs, and we'll throw in another one of these, and we'll do metal blocks, and we'll give this a priority bump. And then additionally, we can go ahead and grab this and rip this path out. We can throw in that Bad Johnny right there. We throw in another medium warehouse right here. This will be explosives, and you will be extract, which will be needed for all of this. So they should be able to just run back and forth into here and there and do all of the things without too much issue. Theoretically, that's how that should work, but I've never been one to be the smartest when it comes to anything like this, so we shall see how that all goes. I don't need you guys connected there anymore, or you. I do need that connected still, actually. Give that back. I don't need all of this connected still, so let's get that in. We'll go ahead and toss in a couple steam engines just to alleviate some of the bots having to run all the way back to the other side. And that requires us to grab this and throw in our charging stations right here, 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 and here, and on this side as well. Sweet. That goes there, that goes all the way across to there, and then we can throw some more on the back side here as well. That doesn't need to be there, that'll be fine. You get to be there and right there. I feel like I've put in way more than these two can accommodate. These require 50 horsepower a piece, so each of these can do 8. So that's 8 right there, and that's an additional 8. All right. So that takes care of that. Let's give this a little bit of a priority bump so this gets all accommodated in preparation for the next level of chaos that's about to come through. Now the question is, why haven't they touched these things yet? I don't know, but they are getting to it. I do want to give this a priority bump as well. It doesn't help that our bots are having to run halfway across the world to throw in all of these things for us, which is definitely not the greatest way of going about dealing with this whole shtick, but it's all right. Again, it'll get accomplished, and that's all that matters. There's probably a much more efficient way of going about doing these things, but I've never claimed to be efficient. I just make it work, and I just slam my head into the desk and yell at it until it goes brr. That's how this works, right? That's how this is supposed to work, allegedly. How are we doing on this end? So this held up. We're down about a tile's worth of water in here. This probably has about a tile and a half down. That kind of makes sense considering how much water is available in there. You guys should be nearing boredom in here soon, which is a good thing. We are maxed out on total water available to us, so that is good. How are we doing on this end? And I forgot to swap one of you guys over. And how are we doing on mushrooms? Mushrooms are still at the 0 mark, and algae seems to be doing better than mushrooms, though we're doing better on fermented mushrooms food-wise. Interesting. Unconnected building. Okay, yep. That's on me. That gets connected to you. You get yeeted out of existence, and then we grab you. Throw you in right there, and now we have a few more positions for our bots to recharge themselves. Go ahead and prioritize these by haulers so that they actually have power available to them, and that should alleviate a little bit of this back and forth that we're contending with these bots being out of juice. Now he's going to take 15 years to run that over there. It looks like he just needed to slap it in right there, so that's good. So he's walked past a few charging stations to go down there. Interesting choice there, my guy. This needs a few metal parts, and then that'll be finalized really quick like, and then we'll have those 3 charging stations available. And that is meeting the intent. We are charging our bots that are slowly running out of power as they run all the way back here and putting all this in for us. And of course, that is being quite painful. Very painful indeed. It's okay. We're making progress. We're making progress. I'm just going to keep yelling that to myself until it actually gets accomplished. So, all right, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to stare at this for the next 6-9 seconds. You guys are going to see a quick snap forward, and we'll see you on the other side. All right, And there we have it. That took a little bit longer than I anticipated, but it's finally in, so that's a good thing. So now we can start the whole destruction process, and I'm super excited about that portion. So let's go ahead and just level things out. Let's level out the playing field a little bit, at least attempt to do so. So we want that to be 10 by 4 there, and we want that to be 10 by 4, and then we want to clear all of that up, and that should be everything under there without any issue. And now we just keep running this back this way. And so here we are. All right, and give me these explosives here. Let's go ahead and run this all the way back there. Let's continue this all the way. So this will be a few more seconds of fun and excitement doing all this. And then we just run this there, all the way back to here. And let's go ahead and yeet that in right there. And we pull that to there. And I think that's kind of what we want to see happening there. It shouldn't... Oh, I hit the pause button still. There we go. All right, they'll place all those explosives for us, and on this side, they'll continue to run the rest of these tubeways in here, which I'm not too concerned about on that end, and that'll work its way in slowly but surely. And then on top of all that, we can start placing in our triple dynamite. I kind of don't want to cut this yet because we do have all of that power in there, right there for all of our bots that are currently working. So we'll let them work that. We'll come and cut this out here when we're ready to do that. And then on this other side, we'll keep running this way. Triple dynamites for all my friends. So 10 by 4 on that side, and my mouse keeps getting caught on stuff and just throwing me off. All right. Now the question is, do I really care to run this, make this corner? I think the answer is yes, but for now I just want to get something running. So I think that will have to meet the intent there. They'll get to place all that dynamite in there relatively quickly, and that should be fine. The question is, can they actually rip this out from the tubeways? I don't know if they can. We'll get to find out here sooner-ish, hopefully. Go ahead and get that out of the way so we can line everything up with the triples here. And that is what we need on that side. That'll take a few seconds for all that to go in. And there's no really rhyme or reason for doing this like this other than just providing me with a nice clean piece of real estate to start throwing in all of our triple dynamite in through here. So we can just do this all the way across the way and hopefully not do ridiculous things like that. But we can clean that up without too much issue either. So that goes like that all the way back to here and all the way back to there. And since we have access on both sides, that should not be a big issue there. And what we could do is clean this out and put another tubeway station on this side, just so they can come over here and charge. And I think that's probably the best answer. So that's probably what I will do. So give me that. We'll flip you around. We'll go ahead and yeet that right there. We'll cut this corner right there. We'll grab you, throw in the 6 that we just pulled out, grab our path here, grab this, and remember that the copy paste function works with the pathing tool as well, which is brilliant, if and I do say so myself. And that gets to be deleted from existence, and I need this to be a max priority right there. A please and a thank you. It should not take too long to get all that slapped in. The planks are already there, the metal blocks are already there, and the gears are making their way in, and somebody's in there right now slapping it away, and that's what we need him to do. It'll take a few more ticks for that to get finalized. We grab this. I don't want that. I want you. And we want you to go in to there. And in theory, as long as we eat that out of existence and eat this out of existence, no one should be walking along that path in the future. Sweet. this is now in and ready for us to grab this and hit that U button and get that blasted out of the way. And we'll keep working our way down. And that's what we want to see. You know, hopefully we've done everything correctly, and then we've got enough build-a-bots to do all the building and the botting. And let's go ahead and give this a priority bump just so that that gets finalized and our bots have a place to charge. We want this prioritized and obtained so that they don't have to keep running back 5,000 miles to grab all of their material. And that's kind of what we want to see there. I probably should have put in a larger tank here than just this medium tank. That's not what I wanted. I want this large tank, and then I want you to be extract. And we'll hit this obtain button. We'll give this a priority bump, I guess, and that should meet the intent there. Hopefully that keeps up with the demand. I don't know if that will necessarily. That's not exactly how I wanted that to be, so we'll flip that around. Eat that in there. Give you extract. Prioritize obtain again, and we'll give this the priority bump that we need. Sweet. Don't know why that one's still waiting on metal parts. It's probably because one bot somewhere is having to travel 5,000 miles with the 3 bolts on hand to slap that in. Again, probably not the most efficient way of going about doing all of this, but we are making good progress in planting all these explosives, so that is what matters in the end, and I'm happy about that. So the question is, how deep do we really need to go? So that goes to there. Looks like we're going to have to do this line probably 3 times total to get all of that running. And we'll cut this line out with something. I'm not entirely sure with what at this point. I'm curious, actually. Can I do this? Can I grab you? Pull this up by 1. Pull this down by 1. And grab you. Pull this in here. And pull this down by 1 more. And then do something like this. I don't know if this actually is needed. Because I'm curious if I can do something a little cheeky here. I don't know if I'll be able to, now that I'm thinking about it. I can't really rip that out. We can just keep blasting down with the tunnels. That doesn't solve the end problem where I've got stuff underneath. You just have this be the gap here, I guess. That could be. Let's do that. Let's go and pull that out of there. Let's grab a 1x4. Put that in right there. You eat those 2 out of there. Grab that and that. Now we just do this across. And we can rip this out here. And that should meet the intent. And we'll bridge this gap and we'll have access to all of this. And we'll have access to all of that. We'll have access to all of the things. And hopefully that meets the overall intent. And I kind of want to put in more explosives on this end. So give me that. We'll put that over there. That gives us access to that and that and that and that. And that should be more than enough to continue all of the things that we want to do. We want to also pull these out. Grab me that, and that. Grab this, grab that, connect to those sides, and there we go. Now, did they put all of this in over here? It appears as though they have, and that's brilliant, and that's what we want to see. Additionally, we want to see this done and dusted so we can rip this out. We can start throwing in the explosives that we need down here. And hopefully it doesn't take too long for those couple of pieces to get yeeted in, and that should be good. So we just rip that out there. Now we also rip out this tunneling right there, and then we throw in a double set of doubles down here, and they can clean up that mess at their earliest convenience, and then we should be full and clear without any issue. And we do have plenty of extract coming over here, plenty of explosives coming over here as well, and that is good, and so it is good. And we've got those couple of pieces in there. Sweet. So let's go ahead and hit this button. Let's get this up and running. This is what we want to see happening here. This is how we live our life. We do ridiculous things and make explosives for all my friends. And it makes me happy. And the game is chugging along at 30 FPS right now because there's so many explosions going on. And I'm here for it. It makes me happy. And it should make you all happy as well. Alright. Sweet. Come on. There we go. A little bit at a time. Onesie twosies all the way back to here. And I missed a line. Boo on me. Boo on you. Boo on your couch. Boo on your cow. Sweet. There we go. Thank you, Mushu, for... Never mind. Never mind. Mushu, it's okay. We appreciate you. Alright, let's see how deep this goes. Looks like we could get away with just a set of doubles or something in here. We do want to somehow crawl back here and set this up so that this doesn't backflow, backfill, and we also want to dump it down one level too. I don't believe I have access to that anymore because I do not have access to that anymore. Could come up here. Gain access to it somehow, some way. Or we just crawl down. This will blast a hole in that, and we'll be able to just crawl down there with the tube-way stations and build that up down there without too much issue, hopefully, theoretically. We may even blast further back, honestly. That might do it. And allegedly, they cannot actually reach that from the tube-way station, or tube-way, so that kind of stinks. Can I place tunnels underneath these? Did that work? It did work. Well, that makes that simple. Sweet. We just do that, and that gets those cleared out, and then we can start throwing explosives in there. Now I want to do something like this and continue this forward with a little bit of a 1x4, I think is kind of... No, let's go back 5. Go back 5. That should meet the intent there. Kind of want to give these guys a plus up as far as their priorities are concerned. They should be able to reach both of those. And that is beautiful. Explosives are going in, lining up the entirety of this line. That is so cool looking. I'm happy with how this looks. Like, that is pretty neat right there, if I do say so myself. That is so cool. All right, cool. Things are going in on this side slowly but surely. And our couple of bots are running back there, throwing things in that side. We still have 2 bots that are running out of power, but everything is inside the tubeways now, so they should be able to run this a little bit more efficiently than having to run all along the pathways and everything to deal with all the issues. I would love for more extract to make its way over here. We are not quite meeting that demand there, so maybe what we need to do is come over here and expand our extract production capacity, or have this set as a supply and hit that as a prioritized supply so that we can get all the materials across in a way how we want it to. and maybe that will meet the intent. I kind of also want to swap you guys over so we can fill all of those building positions with bots again. So let's unpause you. I don't think I have any hauler hauler bots right now. So I think we'll be fine in that regard. Now let's come over here. So we're a good 18 days thereabouts into this drought, and this has gone down almost 2 tiles. So I think we've got good water storage on this side. I'm kind of happy with how much is available in there. That is awesome and fantastic, and it makes me happy in my face. And I'm going to yeet that out of there, and that should be good. And now we can do the same thing with this over here and that over there. And then we toss in a couple of these bad Johnnies back to there, and that should meet the intent for us to continue on back here. And if we blast this out around and on top of that bad tide or that bad water cap, then we should be able to very easily just build on top of that and force the water out this way, which is kind of what I want to do. Let's go ahead and start blasting this out. They'll continue to work that side as fast as they can. We'll come over here, we'll meet that in the middle and get things blasting as fast as beaverly possible. And we are cutting a beautiful line through the tunnels. We are making those worms look bad as far as how much they've destroyed and how much we've destroyed, and I'm happy about that. All right. I don't want to blast below that line, so let's see how this looks. That should be fine. That should meet the intent. So this is the final line here that we need to throw in as far as explosives are concerned, so that's good. So we just continue putting all of this in here, and it will be amazing. Then we get to start figuring... Actually, I don't want this center line to be triples. I want this center line to be doubles. So pull that all the way back to there. I want to pull all this back to there. Is that right? Nope, I will need that to be triples. I'm incorrect. I do want this to be triples all the way down. Then we'll do a set of doubles on top of, or in addition to this. And that should meet the intent. And now we've got to come in on top of here, start working our way down. Same type of situation as we had before. So we want that to look like that. And then we'll start working our triples down from here. Sweet. I think that covers everything, and we might even need to go out one. Or even more, maybe. I don't know. Or would it just be faster to dig our way in elsewhere? I'm not entirely sold on either prospect, honestly. Not entirely sold on either prospect, and that is painful. Okay, more explosives. Give me that. We'll copy there and do smart things with the new features that are available to us, and we'll continue running this all the way down here. Brilliant. It'd be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Get that yeeted. Put this all in. Right there. This may be excessive and unnecessary. We'll see. One way or the other, we'll figure out a way to get down into there and fix all of the shenaniganry that we're causing right now. Either way, it will be beautiful, and that's all that matters. I just want to be able to take advantage of this power. We'll probably end up running the power up and through here. It's kind of my my going in argument, since we already have this power system running that way. So we'll run all the juice that way, and it'll be brilliant. They are throwing all the explosives in this side, and they're slowly working their way eventually to this side. which will be what we want to see. Right. So we'll give this a few seconds. We'll come back as soon as all of the explosions are posted. All right. All the explosives are placed. That's what we wanted to see, and that's brilliant. So let's go ahead and blast all of this out of here. Get this all cleared up and ready to rock and roll for us. And that is what we want. Now the question is, how much have I foobarred this entire system? And the answer is probably a fair amount. That is not what we want to see. Well, that's not what we want. Okay. Let's fix this really quickly because this is not good. So that kind of changes our calculus here a little bit. We're going to have to clean all of this up. Get this in, get this closed up as soon as practicable, and save as much of this water as we can because that's going to be a lot of juice that we just let out. However, we're still good on this end. We can probably let a little bit of this water back in over here. Maybe. I don't know if there's enough pressure in it anymore since we've just released the pressure on this end. So all that water is just going to eat off the side down here, which it is, which stinks. I don't know if that's really going up over here either. I don't think it is. Okay, I don't think that's actually going to do anything for us. So all that water is basically just going to be trapped and or going away at some point or another. Let's go ahead and pull this back down to the 1.9 or whatever we had it on before. Click this button. Check this again. That is all capped off as intended, so that is good. So what we're going to need to do is basically craft our system on top or in this area. So we'll put in a bunch of dirt to make this work for us, which shouldn't be that big of an issue. We have plenty of dirt floating around, 2.4K units of it available to us. Now the question is, can we reach this? I think we can. I don't know if we'll be able to actually... All right, so let's hit this. Too far from district cannot be reached. Okay, so that answers that question. So let's go ahead and grab this bad Johnny. Pull this down to here. Pull that all the way up to there. Grab this. Eat that in right there. And then that gives us access to this down here. We should be able to build that relatively quickly. We shouldn't have anything causing any issues with this being unlocked or available for everybody. That's all draining out. That's all doing as it's intended. That's good. We've got 2.2 days remaining in this bad tide, and that's fine. This is going in, and what we want and or need to do is go ahead and eat this in right here. Why can we not place this on top of here? Okay, let's go ahead and pull that out. Don't think that was really necessary to pull that out like that. That should be fine. We'll pause these guys real quick. Let's go ahead and cut this out. Beautiful. Now we want that to go into there. This to go in right here. And put that in right here. Cover that gap in. And come over here. Make sure there aren't any more gaps that we're missing on either side. And it does not appear as though there is an issue there. Can we put levees on top of this? We can. So let's just go ahead and put that on there. And we'll just do dirt on top of that, and that should meet the intent. Sweet. I think that's what we needed to do. Don't believe I had anything actually filling these holes anymore either. So I think we're good. Even if that gap is open or whatever, that should be no issue. And we could plant those. Yeah, we can go ahead and plant that. Sweet. Okay, and then on top of that, I don't think we need even these in here, honestly. So let's go ahead and eat that out. All right. So let's go ahead and eat all of this in this side, and run this all the way back here. Just to make sure I'm not doing anything ridiculous, this should go in just like that, and that should touch the ground. It does. Okay, good. Awesome. That's what we wanted to see. Give me that back again, and we're going to keep pulling this out and through all the way down to the end. Yep, this is what I was trying to avoid having to do. But I didn't anticipate that water line to be exposed there at the end. So that stinks, but this will meet the intent here. And now we can do the same on this end. That is now connected. Now we should be able to reach all of those, hopefully. Should be able to reach all that. All right, let's flip this around to that side and start building this up on this end. All right, sweet, beautiful. What we also probably should need to do, or should want to do, is throw in a few more pieces of storage on the other end to provide us with all of the material that we're going to need. But alas, that I don't really have much real estate for any more storage, so this should meet the intent. We'll go ahead and put all of this in, and this is going to work, hopefully. All right, I'm going to finish this up. We're going to throw in all of the beautiful pieces of power, all the power wheels, and we'll call this episode there, guys. We'll do a little speed up montage while I finish the rest of this. So, that being the case, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know it's probably a little bit lackluster. We didn't get to do anything too exciting other than blowing up a nice big line. This is probably a very cool shot. I like this shot a lot. This is beautiful. That is really cool. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please hit that like button. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate that as well. And I appreciate you all for being here, being part of the fun, being a part of the chaos, being a part of the insanity with me. And it's been an absolute pleasure to have each and every one of you along for the ride with us. That being said, I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you're in the world. Stay safe, stay nice and thirsty, stay awesome, and keep rocking in the free world. I'm out. See ya.